Good afternoon. I'm Skywalker Payne, author, storyteller, and founder of Vibrant Velvet Voice and the Facebook group Loving a Life That Is Golden. And we're here today to continue a discussion we began yesterday. But as always, we'll begin with a chime. And we're sending out light and love and happiness to people all around the world, because that's what we're here for, to preserve happiness, promote harmony, and practice compassion. And yesterday, I told the story of how I came to be born, and I was particularly talking about how the mother's emotions can impact the unborn child in her womb. Now, some people might have thought I was just talking off the top of my head. So I did a little research and found a few articles documenting studies that had been done on this topic. And I just have a couple of quotes to share today to give clarity to this. And I'm sharing this so that if you have been struggling with being unhappy or being anxious or fearful and never understanding why, you might want to look back to the circumstances of your birth and your mother's pregnancy and what she was going through. Now, of course, some of us, if your mothers are gone, you can't get that information. But if your mother is still alive and you have problems in your life that you've not been able to figure out, it might be good to talk to your mother and ask her what was going on when she was carrying you, when she was pregnant with you. Did she have a lot of stress? Was she worried? Did she go from being happy to being sad because of changes in the relationship with your father? It's good to know the circumstances of your birth. Now, there's a Dr. Thomas Verney, who was the founder of the Association for Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Health. And he said, everything the pregnant mother feels and thinks is communicated through neurohormones to her unborn child, just as surely as alcohol and nicotine. And of course, we know as other drugs and food, because the baby, the fetus, is totally operating from the mother's biology. The fetus receives the mother's air, the chemicals and residue from what mother eats. All of this is going through to the fetus as it develops into a baby. And so, of course, our thoughts and our emotions are reflected by our biology. When we feel stressful, neurohormones come out. When we're afraid, when we're upset, when we're angry. Nothing happens isolated. Everything is connected in our body, our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts. And if you are carrying a child, they are transmitted to the child. And likewise, if your mother went through changes when she was carrying you, they could very well have affected you as you were growing up, as a teenager, as a young adult, and maybe even now. Deepak Chopra, who is also a medical doctor, said, when a pregnant mother is anxious, stressed, or in a fearful state, the stress hormones released into her bloodstream cross through the placenta to the baby. Hundreds of studies have confirmed that chemicals released by the pregnant mother's body are transported into the womb and affect the unborn baby. So, we've always had and heard of the psychological and psychiatric analysis of our parents having effect on us as we grew up or things that happened when we were a child. But we also have to consider what happened before we were born. Now, all of this is to say that we can examine these things, we can get this information. And then when we know, we find ways of letting it go, letting go of the negative things that happen to us or that have been affecting us for all of our life. Those things, those blocks, those fears, those stressors, those anxiety that have kept you from being happy. Especially if you spent hundreds or thousands of dollars seeing counselors and analysts, and you still can't figure out why you can't be happy. It may have been something that your mother experienced when you were still in the womb, something that was never talked about, something you may never be able to find out. But just thinking about that is a way of releasing your responsibility for these feelings, for being burdened with them. And you can let them go. You can be happy. It takes work sometimes, particularly if you've been carrying burdens or ideas or thoughts or limiting beliefs in your mind for a long time. But you can have happiness. And that's what we're here to help you with, that vibrant velvet voice. And below you'll find links to a free ebook called The Secret Sauce for Everyday Happiness. Just some simple little things you can do every day. And if after seeing this ebook or reading it, you're still having problems, you can look forward to a challenge we're going to have later the first week of December to really go deeper into that secret sauce, to develop the habits that will keep you happy every day at a baseline. You may need to go deeper, but just every day, a few things that will literally put a smile on your face and in your heart. So the lesson for today has been to examine all of the factors that could lead to you not being happy, including things that your mother experienced when you were in her womb. This is the last live for this week. So it's good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. Have a wonderful weekend.